Hey everybody, Gonzo here. I would normally think of something witty to say, but I got nothing, so let's just get right to it.
I'm fresh. You gotta be fresh.
So the first thing we see is a mob of news reporters surrounding the MP Nile Dock, Irwin's old friend from their training days. A young reporter, seeing what's left from the carnage, inquires about the Central Military Police's involvement and the utilization of the new 3D gear designed for killing humans. Then the old reporter shuts him up right quick and apologizes to Nile, saying the boy is young. Soon after, we get a glimpse into Nile's thoughts, as he seems to be wary of the usage of the new gear. True, it was designed for killing humans, especially those in the Survey Corps, but I believe his distrust lies not in the gear itself, but in Kenny. Last month, we were shown a brief scene in which Kenny mentions his dream and what I believe to be a chance for clemency for his actions. Or perhaps Nile believes Kenny is nothing but a reckless mercenary sent to do the government's bidding. Either way, things don't bode well for our heroes, or possibly even Nile himself. I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure how, but I get the feeling Nile will reunite with Irwin in the Survey Corps and the fight to save humanity. Then the scene shifts over to the surviving Survey Corps members, and we get a lovely panel of Armin blowing chunks. See? There they are. There's the chunks. Inside the barn, Isayama teases the fangirls, and it's quickly revealed that Armin saved Jean from the female MP. Betty appears to be more shaken than Jean. Armin questions aloud why he was the first one to pull the trigger, despite the MP's extended window of opportunity. Levi explains the MP hesitated, and we're given a beautiful look into the eyes of the would-be killer. Now, I love how Isayama gives us small glimpses of humanity and morality in the most unexpected moments. But speaking of morality, Armin speculates that the female MP must have been kind, and he begins to question his own morality when Levi cuts him off, saying that if he had hesitated as well, John would not still be alive. This little exchange about survivor's guilt is probably my favorite line of dialogue in this chapter. It shows the readers what soldiers and war veterans go through, intended to prove it's not always easy to pull the trigger and life isn't just some shoot-'em-up movie. Isayama yet again offers some great insight. Anyway, it's John's turn to develop some character, and he apologizes to Levi. He explains he didn't want to get his hands dirty with blood, and he left himself open for attack. Meanwhile, we see some old friends in the form of Hitch and Marlowe searching through the woods and discussing their conflict with the Survey Corps, although it's quite obvious from their dialogue that they don't really know the full story. We get just a hint of character development from the shallower-than-a-puddle Hitch and a flash of clarity from Marlowe, but the former cuts off the latter because she hears running water. The duo attempt to arrest Armin by a scream, but it's a trap, and they are disarmed by the pair of Akimans. They take their clothes and send Mikasa and the suddenly fierce Armin back to Stois to gather intelligence. Following their departure, Hitch frantically calls out the Survey Corps for their recklessness, and once again develops just a little bit more character by showing concern for Annie. Then they're given a big surprise when Levi says that the female Titan is actually Annie. Audible gasp! Marlowe asks if it really was Squad Levi that killed Reeves and the civilians. Levi answers that it was actually the Central MP's doing, and Marlowe asks to let him join. Back when we first met him in Stois, Marlowe was the sole voice of reason among the MP recruits and vowed to stomp out corruption. It's nice to know that some things haven't changed. Getting back to the present, Levi turns him down since he doesn't trust his resolve. Squad Levi heads out, leaving Jean to escort the two MPs. Jean voices his concerns and distrust of them, and when they're far away enough, Jean lunges for an attack, but trips and disarms himself. Marlowe scoops up Jean's knife and yells at Hitch to make like Monty Python and run away. In their tussle, Jean pins Marlowe against a wall, and in true supervillain fashion, begins monologuing. But in his words, we can see that he's more or less distrustful of himself, and he's still feeling guilty by losing Marco, his squad mates placed under his command during Trost, and the most recent event. Marlowe snaps him out of his self-guilt by confessing he joined the MPs to end corruption, declares his trust in Jean, and throws the knife away. Jean is relieved for just the briefest of moments before Hitch clocks him in the temple with a stick. She goes in for another strike on Horseface, but Marlowe intercepts her and explains the situation. In his dazed and most likely concussed state, Jean admits to Marlowe he reminds him of a certain idiot. Marlowe helps him up, and Jean extends an invitation to work for the Survey Corps. In a brief fast-forward, Squad Levi prepares to infiltrate a central MP building thanks to the help of their new MP buddies. There's something foreboding about this building, and I think it's safe to assume that we're going to be hit with something big next chapter. While this chapter was pretty dialogue heavy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, we've been set up for a lot more blood-spilling action and high-intensity mystery. A solid chapter with several moments of brilliance that should satisfy everyone until Chapter 60 is released next month. But until then, who do you trust?